If you're someone that believes that they have this on top potential that they're just not fully tapping into, this podcast is for you. We are going to dive down. We're going to dive into what you should do, different mindset reframes that you should have, and really just this podcast is going to be one wee step of learning towards how to be an absolute unit. So if that's for you, stay here and listen up, because I'm going to provide some really, really good value. We're in Thailand right now, and for anyone that is listening, you can listen, or not listening, for anyone that's watching, you can watch on Spotify or YouTube. This is our setup, so I'm only going to briefly show this because I know that not all of you are actually able to see this. A lot of you may drive when you watch these, and I respect that, but this is the setup upstairs. This is like I call it my office. This is the war room, as they say, and today I've just been, last 2 days I've been working, so it's just a bit of a mix of working and partying. You don't need to, whenever you go away, you don't need to party all the time. You don't need to sightsee every single day. At least I believe that, because I actually enjoy work. Not everyone enjoys work, and some people think that is hell on earth if they are to work and when they're away. But I'm away for 5 weeks at the end of the day, and I've got things to do. I've got content to make, and I've got clients to serve. So like fuck, I'm putting the foot off the gas. Not a chance. And like fuck, I'm putting the foot off the gas with this podcast, because I actually absolutely love doing these podcasts. I think they're incredible. It's a good chat. It's just like a friendly chat with one of my clients. I basically find these, like, it's the things I talk about when coaching and the things that I teach about when coaching. So basically I was speaking to someone today. It was a guy, and he told me that at the moment he's not feeling good enough, but beforehand he was telling me about like everything he wanted to do, but he is not feeling good enough. He's putting others' needs ahead of his own, so he doesn't feel like he's the main person in his life. And he was asking me, right, what do I do? How do I get motivation daily? And what really is the prize at the end of it all? Because if you don't know that there's going to be a prize at the end of it all, you're not going to do it. Think about anyone who does really, really well in their field, any footballer, any fucking athlete. The reason that they do it isn't just always for the sake of it, or that's what you would think. You would think that they're doing it to win the World Cup or to win the boxing match. But I'm going to actually talk about the real reason these people perform to the best of their ability and why they work so hard compared to the regular person. So I'm just grabbing my pen just so I sound a bit smarter as I talk here. And we're going to dive into it. So first of all, you're not feeling good enough and you're putting others' need ahead of yourself. A lot of us have done this, and a lot of yous who are watching this, and you have probably did this, and I have definitely did this before in the past a lot. I had served other people. Whenever I made a promise to someone else, I would always keep it, but if I made a promise to myself, a lot of the time, not all the time, it would get broke. I was good at making promises to go to the gym. That wasn't a problem for me. I was actually fairly consistent with the gym, but it was different promises about just being a better person, about being honest. I just wasn't following through with it. With my sleep, I wasn't following through with it. There were small things that I was just slacking on, and it was really, really holding me back from moving forward and actually just enjoying the experience of life. Because I think the best way to enjoy life is to every single day tick the boxes of improving yourself. I think as humans, that's always been the case. Just cavemen, every single day they were trying to, this is such a simple example, they were trying to learn how to make fire, or they were trying to learn how to fucking cook, or they're always trying to learn something new. And human evolution, that is part of it. It is one of the biggest things about being a human, is being able to evolve with the times, and that is one of the biggest things that gets me so excited. It's evolving every single day. So you don't feel good enough, and you're putting others ahead of you. You need to, and this, a lot of people will call this selfish, but what you need to do is make yourself the main character for once. Think about any movie. The main character, she starts the movie, and a lot of the time they're not in an awfully bad situation, they're not in an awfully great situation, they're normally just coasting, and then something happens, something either good happens that ends up being bad, or else something bad happens. But the main chunk of the movie is the struggle, the main chunk of the movie is the challenge. And right now you're either in the start of the movie where things are right, they're okay, like you might be hitting, just like for me, you might be hitting the gym, but you're not fully consistent. You might be into self-improvement, but you're not doing as much as you can. You might not be keeping these promises to yourself. But something is going to happen that is going to get you into that dark place, and you're going to have a fuck this moment where you really realise that you need to make a big change, and the challenge will come then. But don't avoid that challenge, and don't give up whenever that challenge happens, because imagine you watch fucking, trying to think of a movie everyone's watched. Imagine you watched fucking the Barbie movie. We've all watched the Barbie movie. I briefly watched it. I barely remember it, but imagine you watched the Barbie movie. If you don't know the Barbie movie, I'm going to briefly explain to you. So in the Barbie movie, it starts with, all right, Barbie's in her Barbie world. She's going about speaking to the Kens. And then she goes into the real world, and that's the challenge that she faces. That's the thing that gets in her way. She's in the real world. She's trying to get out of it. Imagine, and then after, I'll just explain it all. After that, she then comes back, and the Kens have taken over. The Kens are now ruling the roost, and that is the really bad part. That is the third act in the movie. And then eventually they sort the Kens out. They're all friends again, and they all live happily ever after. The end. It's a pretty shit movie. I just use that as an example because it's just all I could think about. But imagine the Barbie movie ended when Barbie was in the real world. Imagine Barbie was in the real world. She was struggling. She was like, right, how do I get back home? And you just grab TV remote. You're like, boom, turn it off, or you left cinema. There's still that bit of you that's like, oh my God, what did I miss out on? And a lot of people end the movie when they're still halfway through. A lot of people give up and push things back when they still have barely even started. A lot of people get into a fitness journey and they say, oh my God, right, this is a wee bit harder than I thought. I didn't know that I had to. I didn't know that tracking calories was that difficult. It's not difficult if you make it easy. I didn't know it was that difficult. Oh my God, I've just faced a bit of hunger. Oh my God, I just had to say no to that cookie. That's it. What excuse can I use? Right, let me look through. What excuses are? All right, yeah, okay. Work. I'll tell myself that. All right, work has, yeah, okay, yeah, a wee bit of stress from work. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay. Yeah, my mom made fun of me there. That ruined my mood. Okay, yeah. All right, that's my excuse. I don't have to go to the gym anymore. I can give up on my dieting. I can eat all the junk food in the world that I want, and I'll go back to being fat, or if you're bulking, I'll go back to being skinny, where you don't want to be. You could do that. No one's stopping you to do that. You're your own grown man, or your own grown woman. But it doesn't really make a good movie, does it? So once you come back and you say, you know what, I am the main character of my own life, I am going to realize that when things aren't moving, it's because it's in the script. This is part of the script. Whenever things get really hard and really, really challenging, and the Ken dolls take over, and you have to face the shit, and things aren't going your way, you persevere. Whenever you're stuck in the real world and you want to get back home, persevere. Push through it. Embrace it. Embrace the challenge, because you're going to look back and that's going to be the most entertaining parts of the movie. Most of the time, the most entertaining parts of the movie isn't at the end when the main character wins. When the main character wins, it actually gets boring then. You're like, right, when is this movie going to end? Roll the end credits. But during the halfway through the movie, towards the end, towards the hardest part where the character's in the worst position, that's when it's most entertaining. That's when it's so enjoyable. So look at your life that way. And then that's looking from the outside, looking from the inside. Whenever you tell yourself you're the main character, you're going to, being the main character doesn't mean that you're selfish. Being the main character doesn't mean you stick your middle finger up to every single person that isn't you. It doesn't mean that you're narcissistic. It just means that you have a mission and you are here to serve that mission. And once you tell yourself that, once you wake up every single day and you're excited to get out of bed to serve that mission, that's the best way to feel. Whereas if you tell yourself, oh my God, right, I'm not the main character, nothing matters, I've got no goal, I've got no purpose, I'm not going to help anyone, life's shit. Whereas if you actually put if you add a bit of fire to it, and you actually, I'm trying to think of the example. If you put some eggs in the basket, no one's ever used that example before, I just made it up. If you drop a basket, nothing happens. If you put some eggs in the basket, it adds risk. If you add some risk, then you're actually gonna do the thing. If you tell yourself, right, I don't want to be a fat bastard because I don't want my kids to look at me and be like, what the fuck? Why is my dad fat and this other person on TV isn't fat? I'm gonna listen to this person on TV. I'm gonna listen to this person online. I'm gonna listen to fucking this influencer who's actually a bit of a dickhead instead of my own dad or my own mum, because they are in shape and they fall through their own promises, and they are someone that I want to replicate, that I want to be like. I want the outcome that they have. I don't want to end up like my mum or dad. How many of you don't want to end up like your mum or dad? It's a very hard truth. A lot of people don't, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people don't want to end up like their mum or dad so they can actually make more money, so they can be better people, so that they can then in turn help their parents out. So again, it's not selfish. It's just putting something on the line so you actually do what you need to do. So who are you letting down by not doing what you need to do? Think about it. If you put more people into this, if you're like, right, I'll use one example. Whenever I was starting my business, I heard that my granny wanted to go on a cruise. We were playing a board game and it was like, right, what's the one thing you all want to do? We all had a guess, and she actually revealed that it was wanting to go on a cruise. And I told myself, imagine in the next 5 years I could fund a family trip on a cruise. Imagine how class that would be. And that was around January time when I launched the business. And I worked the hardest I had ever worked that year. And I ended up leaving my job to take my business full time. And that's because I put things on the line. I said, you know what, I want to buy my mum a car. I want to take my granny on a cruise. I want to be able to help my parents in the way that they were never able to help themselves. As tough as that is to say out loud. When there's so much more in the line, you are going to do so much more. And you're going to work so much harder. And you know what? For some people, they have to work harder than others. It's just the way it is. Life isn't fair. I've had it before where I've been doing social media for a while and I see someone start after me and they grow a lot faster. And in the past, it's pissed me off, and I was like, oh, why? Why me? Why do these people grow fast and I'm growing slow, and I'm uploading twice a day? These people are uploading 3 times a week, and they're beating me. They're growing faster. Guess what I did? I doubled down, and I started uploading 3 times a day, and I put a massive investment into someone to help me with my content, and I grew from 3K to 13K in the space of 4 months because of the fact that I took it serious, because of the fact that I committed. And again, it all tied in to the main mission. What is my mission? My mission is to help people in the way that I needed helped, as corny as it is for any coach. But I didn't always have full control of my life. I used to always follow what others would tell me, or do as the teacher said, or let other people shape my life and shape how I speak and shape how I do and shape what I do. I was living my life for other people rather than living my life for myself. So it was only once I started to serve me and look out for me, that's whenever my life completely changed, and that's when I was most happiest. And it was through that journey where I felt the happiest too. So if you're not feeling good enough and you're putting others ahead of you, realize that whenever you start putting yourself first, you are able to help those people more, because you will come as the best version of you. And you all know the analogy: fill your own cup first, then you can pour other people's cup. You put your own mask on first. There's a reason those analogies exist, because it's so true. If you are a slump, if you don't follow through with your own promises, how are you meant to help someone else and help them to follow through with their own promises? If you're not someone that's honest, if you're not someone that is proud of themselves, how are you going to inspire other people or give other people the energy to be proud of themselves? You're not going to be able to do that. So focus on you, serve you, and then you can focus on other people. But focus on you so you can serve other people, so you can help other people. My clients who have done the absolute best, whether that's fat loss, muscle gain, mindset, the challenges that they do, a lot of them raise insane amounts, thousands. My clients, I haven't said this to flex, I have clients who have raised thousands for charity, and that's because, not because of me, it's because of them, and it's because of the fact that they make it so much bigger than just them or just dialed in. They always do it for a charity that they care for. They always do it for a charity that hits close to home. and that puts stuff on the line. And then as a result, they have to push, they have to move forward, they have to do it because it's an irreversible decision. They've made a decision, they've said, right, I'm going to donate to this. They put a post on social media, they say I'm going to do a challenge in this day, and then they fucking knock it out the park because there's so much on the line. So yeah, main thing, put more on the line, start treating yourself like the main character in the movie, as cringe as it is, and life will get a whole lot better, a whole lot better. Just double check we're recording. Yes, we are. Perfect. Now, motivation. I was asked, how do I get motivation daily to work, to move forward? And you've heard this before. You all know this. Motivation is a load of wank. And motivation is great. Sometimes you're going to be really motivated. And I'll tell you this, see when you are motivated, make the absolute most out of that motivation while you can, because an undeniable fact is that you're never always going to be motivated. But another undeniable fact is that you are going to have times where you are motivated. So at the times when you are motivated, work extra hard. When you are motivated to make the piece of content, make 5 pieces of content. When you are motivated to hit the gym, hit it harder than you've ever hit it before. Write in your notes to your future self, being like, right, I'm motivated now. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're going to make this change. If you're motivated to, it could be something stupid. It could be doing paperwork. If you're motivated to do paperwork, who's motivated to do paperwork? That's a stupid example. My point is, whenever you're motivated to do a specific task, do the specific task in the soonest amount of time possible from that motivation, because that motivation will go. The other undeniable fact, motivation will be there, but motivation won't always be there. And you're not always going to be motivated every single day, and every single time you have it scheduled for a gym session to hit it, you're not going to be motivated to hit it. Most of my workouts I'm not motivated to hit, but the motivation comes after. I'm always motivated halfway through my workouts and after my workouts. I always feel so motivated. I leave the gym, I'm like, oh my God, the cold air hits my face, I'm walking home, eating my post-workout apple, and I feel the most motivated I've ever felt. But how great would it be to feel motivated before the gym? It would be great, but guess what? You're not always going to feel motivated before the gym. So that's just where you have to do it anyway. And that's, again, what I said before, more has to be on the line. Who are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? What happens if you don't do this? Who are you letting down? Think about work. I always use this analogy, and I'm going to keep repeating myself. It's very important that I repeat myself, because sometimes I'm going to tell you guys something in this podcast, or I said to clients, I'm going to tell you guys something, and it's not going to stick in that moment. But in a month's time, after you make a certain mistake, it might stick then. And things need to be repeated. Repetition is so important. It's like going to the gym. Repetition. These here reframes I'm giving you. Repetition. Think about your workplace. Most people usually aren't late for work unless there's no consequences for it. But most people will show up to work on time, and they wouldn't dream of just randomly being like, I wasn't motivated to go to work. Have you did that? Not really. Maybe if you have a really not motivated, you're really feeling bad, you'll call on a sick day, but you wouldn't get away with doing that for that long. You treat work extremely well. You'll always show up for your boss, but you won't show up for yourself. Do you realize how fucking idiotic that is and how stupid that is? You'll make it to uni on time, but you won't prep your meals. That's going to help you feel great. What? Like, I don't say this to be a dick, because I know most people do this. I say this because I really just want to wake you up to just how it doesn't make sense and how much better your life could be if you didn't do this. A lot of people say they have no energy. How much are you scrolling? I'm not gonna lie, while I was traveling, I have caught myself scrolling a few times. And I completely cut out scrolling, and just whilst I was traveling, being out of routine, I did scroll a bit, I have to admit that. But see the difference I've noticed in my energy when I wasn't scrolling and when I was scrolling, even if it was just 10, 15 minutes. So different. And because of the fact I've had that time where I haven't scrolled, I now realise how big of an impact it has when you don't scroll. So if you're telling yourself you don't have time to do the work that you need to do. If you're telling yourself you don't have time to go to bed on time, but you're sitting scrolling, it makes no bloody sense. It's just so fucking stupid. It is so stupid. It's idiotic. And your life could be so much better if you just cut it out. And I say this from experience. And I don't say this as like, okay, I know absolutely everything, because I don't know absolutely everything. I do want you to take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But look at the research, look at the facts. If you scroll less, you're going to feel better. If you scroll more, you're going to do less. It's going to drain your energy. Your mood's going to be all over the place, especially doing it before bedtime. Especially when you have other stuff you need to be doing. Especially if you're not hitting your step goal. Especially if you're not eating good foods. Are you going to continue to serve other people? Show up for work on time? Be all nice to your boss? Be honest with your boss? But not do that to yourself? Be an absolute dickhead to yourself? Be a wanker to yourself? Oh yeah, I'm going to hit the gym tomorrow. And then you don't go. I'll use this last example. Imagine you had a friend. And you and the friend were having a chat. You were like, you bumped into them in the shop. They were like, right, we need to meet for a coffee tomorrow. This friend says to you, we'll call the friend Angelina. Angelina says, oh my God, Owen, we need to meet for a coffee tomorrow. We're going to chat, we're going to catch up, we're going to have a great time. And I go, yeah, that's class, Angelina, you know what, I'll see you there. And then I go to the coffee shop. We arranged to meet there at 7. Angelina doesn't show up. I text her, she says, oh sorry, something got busy with work. I'm like, all right, no, that's fine, we all make mistakes. Do you want to do next week at 7? She goes, yeah, of course. Next week at 7 I show up, she's not there. Oh, sorry, something happened, busy. Do you want to do it next week? Yeah. Show up next week. Angelina doesn't show. This is not a reference for my dating life, by the way. This is a reference for self-improvement. Angelina does not exist, by the way. But my point is, I would eventually get to the point where I don't trust Angelina. And it makes sense why I don't trust Angelina, because she's made a promise to me every single week and she hasn't followed through with that promise. So I don't trust her. And next time she tells me she's going to do something, next time she wants to meet for a coffee, you know what? I'm probably just going to tell her, nah, you know what? Don't worry about it. And then Angelina's going to be upset. You're doing that to yourself. Every single week, if you say, right, I'm going to hit the gym 3 times this week, or I hear people say all the time, I'm going to hit the gym like 3 or 4 times a week. Pick a time. Are you hitting the gym 3 times a week, or are you hitting the gym 4 times a week? If you say 3 or 4 times, that means nothing. If you say 3 times, hit the 3 times. Make the promise, going to hit it 3 times, hit it 3 times. If you say 4 times, hit the gym 4 times. Don't say 3 or 4 times, and then you end up hitting 2. Or if you do hit 3, you're like, oh, maybe I could have hit 4. Just have a program for 3 days and do 3 days, or have a program for 4 days, do 4 days. My point is, don't lose trust with yourself. Every single promise that you make with yourself, follow through with it. Because if not, well, if you can't trust yourself, who the fuck can you trust? You can trust absolutely no one. If you can't be proud of yourself, who's going to be proud of you? And that's the hard fucking truth. So, yeah, and the last question. I really like these questions, so I appreciate the dude for asking these. What is the prize at the end of it all? So, like, we're talking there about motivation, about discipline, about showing up for yourself. You're darn right. See, if there's no prize for doing it, you're not going to do it. And I wouldn't be doing it if there's no prize. And people will tell you, right, you shouldn't need a prize. Of course you need a prize. Of course you need something to keep you showing up and keep you doing it. And the prize can be multiple things. It can be finally looking in the mirror and being proud of who you are. It can be finally being able to run 5k at a decent pace, or go to a run club confidently, or it could be being able to go into a hostel like this and have the confidence to speak to people without stuttering, or without being nervous, or without being afraid. That could be the prize at the end of it all. But the truth is, you might hit those things and you might look in the mirror and you might have the six-pack, you might have the abs, you might be as strong as you said, you might be as fast as you said, you might have the confidence or speak a lot better than what you wanted. And you still might not be happy. And that's okay, because you're just going to go for the next goal. And that's not a bad thing, as long as you pre-frame your expectations and say, right, when I hit this, it's not a case that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be proud of myself. And then realize that no matter what, whenever you hit a goal, you're probably going to have the next goal. You'll probably have a next goal. But there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you, and this is the most important thing, if you get anything out of this podcast, as long as you enjoy the process to an extent. You're not going to enjoy every single gym session. You're not going to enjoy every single meal you eat when you're cutting. You're not going to enjoy every single time you go out for steps. But if long term you can find the enjoyment in that process, that is all that matters. So how do you make it fun? Steps, how can you make it fun? What I do, I'm just going to give you really simple things here. Steps. What I do is, instead of just going for a walk, like, oh, I have to do a 40-minute walk, that's bullshit, that's boring. I just say, oh, I need a ring Jack, I need to ring Jake, and I need to ring James. All right, I'll just go for a walk, and I'll ring them all, one after each other. Go for a walk. Hello, James, what's the crack? Chat away, walk around, wherever I am at the time. James, what's happening? Jake, I think, did we leave at Jack? Per Jack didn't get one, but go for a walk, do your phone calls, go for a walk, do your emails, go for a walk. If you are going to scroll, I'll tell you this, see if you are going to scroll, at least go for a walk while scrolling, as weird as that is. Ideally, go for a walk without your phone. Ideally do that, because you're going to have that time to relax, to reset, to unwind, to not have a phone. But see if you're not hitting your steps and you're going to be lying on your arse on the phone anyway. Do it out for a walk. Make it more fun, make it more enjoyable. If you and the lads all FaceTime each other and take the absolute mick out of each other, do it on a walk. Food, meal prep, how can I make it more enjoyable? Is it, well, first of all, with meal prep, a lot of people will say on a cut, all right, I find this really boring. My opinion is it doesn't really matter if a cut is boring, because a cut shouldn't last forever. A cut being boring is only a problem if you're cutting for like 4, 5, 6, 7 fucking months. Of course that's going to be boring. For me, a cut will typically only last 2-3 months max, and that's for me, because I just cut really fast, really thick, get out of it, and then move myself back up into a gaining phase where I can be in higher food and then have more flexibility. It's only whenever you keep fucking up the cut, when you're always in a cut. If you're in a cut for like 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, unless you have a lot of weight to lose, that makes sense. But if you're in a cut for a very, very long time period, it's because you keep fucking up. See if you just nailed a proper cut for 2 to 3 months. You'll be out of the cut, and you can then move out of it and then build yourself up and have the flexibility. So it doesn't really need to be fun, but I still don't hate cuts. Like, I just have foods that I enjoy. I like chicken with salsa and lettuce and peppers. I enjoy that. I enjoy fucking beef wrap. I enjoy those things. Like, simple as, I don't need to have them. You don't need to have a McDonald's to be happy. You just tell yourself that. You don't need to have a KFC to be happy. You just tell yourself that. And then you feel like it's going to last forever. You feel like, oh my God, this lifestyle of being fit and healthy, it isn't for me. And then as a result, you give up. Being fit and healthy doesn't mean you have to cut out McDonald's forever. It just means, right, maybe during your fat loss phase, you cut it out for a temporary period of time, or you might limit it to once a week for an off-plan meal. And then you can have a lot more when you're a bit more flexible after you cut the weight. But the main thing is, make sure you're moving in a direction. If you're not moving in any direction, of course you're going to be upset with yourself. Of course you're going to feel fucking like you've stalled, like you've plateaued, because you've got no clear goal. Set a time frame. If you've got no deadline for your cut, all right, I'm going to cut for 15 weeks, I want to lose X amount of weight. I'm going to cut for 12 weeks, I'm going to lose this amount of weight. I'm going to do an 8-week cut, I'm going to lose this amount of weight. I'm going to bulk until March, and then I'll cut at this time. It doesn't really matter, or if that's a business goal, if it's an income goal, if it's social media, if you're doing that, whatever it is, set time frames. It makes it a lot more fun. And train again. Make sure you actually enjoy your training. If you're not enjoying your training, swap it up. Use the exercises that you like. Move around the volume. Do you prefer low volume? Do you prefer high volume? You can change that up. Or if you work with a coach, or if you're one of my clients, just let me know, and we can make those necessary adjustments. So the main thing is just gamify everything. Make it fun. See if it's fun, you're going to do it. And when you do it, you get the outcome. Simple as. My point of all that is the prize. There are going to be prizes. There are going to be bits of glory, during the journey, where you finally hit the weight goal, where you finally, again, go to the beach and take off your top. You're going to have those moments of like pride, of glory, where you're like, oh my God, those are the prizes. But the best prize that you can get, and the best gift that you can get, is the process. If you enjoy the process, and you enjoy those small wins every single day, those micro wins, those micro successes, I call them, and you get addicted to hitting those micro successes every day. Like today, when I finished uploading that piece of content, I got a micro success. Whenever I went out and I got something good for my food, my dinner, or my lunch, I felt good. I'm about to hit a gym session after this, I'm going to feel good after that. It's those micro successes. That is the prize. The process is the prize. And once you make the process the prize, that is when you become absolutely unstoppable. I fucked it up. That was such a good speech. When you make the process the prize, that is when you become absolutely unstoppable, my friend. So make the process the prize, no matter what it is you're doing, what your goal is right now. Process is the prize. Boom. Thank you very much. Guys, hope you've got some great value from this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm actually going to call it there, because I think everything I've wanted to say has been said. Hopefully the audio's picked everything up okay, and you've heard everything okay in this podcast. If this has been useful, shoot me a message on Instagram. Let me know what you find useful about it, the key takeaways, and what you're actually going to implement. Because again, it's very easy to listen to podcasts like this, move to the next podcast, or go on and continue your day. See if you don't do anything off the back of this podcast, absolutely nothing will change. It doesn't matter how much information you have, how many podcasts you listen to, nothing is going to change. So let me know what you're going to change in your life as a result of listening to this podcast. If you do nothing after this, you have effectively wasted your time. Straight to the point, and as harsh as that is. So let me know how I found it. If you have enjoyed it, rate and review. If you haven't enjoyed it, you don't need to rate and review. Do not get that. Don't get my stars down, please. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I need to stop saying we're only human, aren't we? See you all later, guys. Boom.